The year was 2017. This is very important for you because I've shown you cards that have been in Hearthstone like quite recently, 2020 onwards. 2017 was a much slower time in Hearthstone. We are in the year of the mammoth, following my favorite expansion of all time in Hearthstone, Journey to Ungoro. The following expansion was Knights of the Frozen Throne, which introduced Death Knights for the very first time. Do you have any idea what this expansion's about?
Are there knights, and do they hang out with a throne that is frozen?
Holy shit, you got it. That is exactly what this is. Now, this is for the Death Knights. Now, you might be saying to me, or I mean, not to me like currently because you're not speaking, but you might be wondering, Rarran, isn't Death Knight already in Hearthstone? That was years later at this point in time. Now, I've showed you the Death Knight class before. This isn't exactly the same thing. What Death Knight cards are, they are hero cards in Hearthstone for each of the individual classes that were there at the time. Your job today is to find out what Death Knight card is the best one. I'm going to give you no context clues for this. Nothing. I'm not going to show you any related cards. Your goal is to find what most people would perceive as the best Death Knight card. Okay?
Okay. Is Simo getting context
No,
clues?
he's getting nothing either. I'm giving you the exact same thing.
Were any of these nerfed? Is there a golden snitch?
There is no nerf cards on this.
Okay,
no nerf cards.
All right, we're just trying to find the one that everybody would say is the best.
Now, there is a little caveat to this because two of the Death Knight cards are objectively the best ones. Okay. Objectively. Now, depending on who you ask, there's going to be like, oh, this card's really, really good, or this one's really, really good, or this one's better. If you get any of the two in the top two, that is completely fine. There's also Death Knight cards that are very bad. Let me explain how these work first and foremost for people who don't know, okay? So, you know your hero in Hearthstone. Let's say you're playing Druid, you're playing as Malfurion. What a hero card would do is it would take over your hero. So rather than you having the classic hero power and the classic portrait, you would become Malfurion the Pestilent. What that means is you will get a new hero power, but also potentially an effect when the card goes into play.
All right. 7 mana for Malfurion the Pestilent.
Cool name. Choose one, summon 2 poisonous spiders or 2 scarabs with taunt.
Our taunty scarab beetle is a 1/5, and our poisonous spider is a 1/2.
Plague Lord, this is the new hero power it looks like. Choose one, +3 attack or gain 3 armor. Okay, so like before, Druid is +1 of each, right?
Yes.
Okay,
so their original hero power is gain +1 attack and +1 armor.
Wow, I only have to read 4 cards to talk about it.
This one's actually one of the longer ones too.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, this one should be a lot faster. This one should be a lot faster.
Okay, so you either get 2 poisonous guys that can basically pop 2 things, or 2 scarabs that can wall up. So because it's Druid, like I said, you can play this on turn 2. So that's pretty good to drop on turn 2.
Like normal, because you're not comparing this to any other Death Knight, this you could just talk about like how good you think this card actually was.
Well, yeah, I definitely want to start comparing it as soon as possible to get a better idea. But right now it seems fine. It's 7 mana, 5 armor. The ability seems good. +3 attack, definitely good in spots. Armor good in spots. So whether you're ahead or behind, you have a use for it. And poisonous, making 2 poisonous things sounds pretty good to me, actually. I'm sure the taunts have their place, but the poisonous sounds very good. Okay. So it's kind of like killing 2 things. It's very druidy too, because it's not just reaching out and killing things. You have to make the little poisonous thingies to kill the things.
To start, I think this is like, it's not like particularly impressive. Like it's not like it's not the Druid Titan. I'll tell you that.
This one is probably the most tame out of all of the other Death Knights. We're starting you with literally the most boring one. But does that mean it's good or bad? That's a different question. It's just in terms of the effect, it's probably the least interesting.
Death Stalker Rexar is 6 mana crystals for a 5 armor battle cry. Deal 2 damage to all enemy minions.
That seems particularly good because it's just a board wipe with upside for 6 mana. And then build a beast. Craft a custom zombeast. Okay, what the fuck does that mean?
What do you think it is?
Well, it's Hearthstone, so, you know, my imagination is the limit here. If I had to guess how this works, you probably get, like, 3 cards that pop up on your screen, like, twice or 3 times, and then there's, like, something, you're like, sort of, like, making a card. That's, like,
you're really close. You're actually extremely close. basically what Death Stalker Rexar would do is it would be like your late game, right? So rather than having a hero power that only does 2 damage, you would hit your button. It would show you 3 beasts. That beast, you would pick the first one, and then it would show you a different copy of 3 beasts, or a different not trio of 3 beasts is what I should say. And then you pick a second one. Those 2 beasts would be merged together for your Zombeast, and it would have the effects and stats and mana cost combined onto 1 card.
Okay. Sure. The very least, it's like you get to draw an extra card every turn, right? You draw for turn, and then you get to pay 2, and you get to make this like weird card thing. So, okay, sure. And like that is potentially a problem in Hunter, because I feel like if you're trying to play like really aggro, like one of the issues with aggro decks, right, is you run out of threats. And so if you run out of threats, then that's sort of how you lose. So build a beast could potentially be a way to like keep you like constantly pressuring the opponent to keep up the aggression. Or it could just be irrelevant. Like it could just be completely useless.
Man, I guess there's a lot of context with how much 2 damage really helps. You said this is Hunter?
This is Hunter.
Yeah, they didn't have access to armor really before. So how good is armor in a Hunter deck? If they're aggressive, maybe it's not that as important as you think, but you did say this is about changing game plans. I see the upside. It is kind of, I see why it's fun. Like, I see why people like it. It is interesting, like the fact that it is Hunter, but it seems to be a very divergent game plan in Hunter makes it like, does that lower its quality is the question.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay.
Or is it rounding out a class that like can go from basically being a great aggro class to now it can also play a mid-range game? Is it actually making it a more deadly class by having the option to change strategy? Ooh.
That almost seems like antithetical to the like Hunter philosophy, though. It's like, okay,
which is why this card is so unique,
right? Yeah, it's like instead of making like a more aggro, like the deal 2 damage proactively is aggro, but then like the hero power is sort of like on the other side of it, where it's like it's giving you inevitability in a deck that more often than not wants to kill the opponent and end the game. You don't want to prolong it, and in that situation, the opponent playing the control deck is more often than not going to have better cards efficiently to deal with your shitty, half-ass build-a-beast card that you're going to make. It almost feels like you're trying to solve a problem with your deck that your deck is inherently not designed to do in the first place.
Okay.
And I feel like if you're playing against mid-range or control matchups, they're just going to have better cards than you.
That is a completely fair take. I really like that angle you're going with. I'm going to be honest with you. Very, very, very well thought out from a card gamer.
Very well thought out. And then it's going to be like, yeah, I'm just baiting you. This card's like the best card on here, right? For now, I'm not impressed. I'm going to put this under the Druid one for now.
Under the Druid one.
And I might move it. I might move it around later.
I'm more excited about it than the Druid one. I'm going to put it ahead of Druid right now. I'm not sure how busted it is, but it's definitely more exciting.
Okay. Next is Mage.
It's Jana.
It is Jana.
I know this character. It's Frostlich Jana.
9 mana, Frostlich Jana. Battle Cry, summon a 3/6 water elemental, and your elementals have lifesteal this game.
Lifesteal's really good.
It is. Especially in this format. Good.
Now, there's a little more to this. The water elemental has an ability. It's a 3/6, and it says freeze any character damaged by this minion. I understand what freeze is. Icy Touch is the new hero power, and it deals 1 damage. If this kills a minion, summon a water elemental.
Yeah.
Huh?
What do you mean?
Huh?
Where's the confusion?
I mean, it's insane. What?
This seems like you play this and like the game is just going to eventually end, because we're talking about inevitability like with the Hunter deck. I feel like if you play this in Control Mage, there's like zero fucking way you're losing the game, because the amount of value you're going to get off of this is just like unbelievable, because not only do you already get a 3/6 for playing this, so you get like some body to go along with it. The elementals have life steal, so you're always just going to be gaining life. So if you play this like mid game, you're on like 15 life, you're always just going to be gaining life back. So it's not going to be hard for you to get back to full life. And then anytime you kill something, you just get to summon another one of these. So your 2 mana is just spamming into 3/6s that are just going to keep you from dying and also put up bodies. And then the water elementals also free shit on top of it to make it even more difficult for your opponent to play.
It is 9. 9's a lot. 9's a lot. 9's a lot. Got to calm down a little. It's more expensive than the others by a chunk. But Rarran. God, this has got to be so hard to kill. This seems so good. I need to get frozen by. I need a freezing water elemental to hose me down because I'm too hot for this card. No. This is my top one for now.
I feel like your opponent is going to try to like rush to kill you before you can play this, because if this sticks, I feel like the game just becomes really hard to win. So just based off what I see here, I think this is so far the best of the three.
Okay, so you're putting Mage at number one.
I'm putting Mage at number one for now.
Okay.
Uther. Okay.
Yep.
Uther of the Ebon Blade.
I know this character too. I know Warcraft things sometimes.
Let's go.
Battle Cry, equip a 5/3 lifesteal weapon. Seems solid.
And then the 4 Horsemen. Summon a 2/2 Horseman. If you have all 4, destroy the enemy hero. Whoa, that's kind of cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Do I get to see the Horseman? Oh, yeah. I do. Okay.
So I'm just going to say this just for like a rule thing. If you have, let's say you have Inquisitor on the board, you will not summon Inquisitor again. It will always be a unique Horseman when you hit the hero power.
So it always pulls from the pool of Horsemen you don't have.
Yes.
There's no way this ever happens. There's no way. There's just no way you get all of these and destroy the enemy hero, right? Like nobody. No.
So
2-mana 2/2s don't just get off like that.
Before you focus directly on that line, like destroy the enemy hero, remember the older hero power of Paladin is just summoning a 1/1 dude every single turn. So objectively speaking, this is just a good increase because you're getting additional stats and you get the weapon.
Excuse me. I only evaluate cards like the absolute Timmy online would, and I only read the most splashy bits. Thank you. So we're only going to evaluate this based on destroying the enemy hero.
Okay, fair enough.
And that's never going to happen. There's no way. Like, there's got to be YouTube videos of like, I did it. I 4 horsemen like that one time.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
It's like a content play.
I'm trying to see, this is where this has tripped me up, because my Yu-Gi-Oh brain, I'm like, there's no conceivable way if I'm playing against a card like this that people are dumb enough to let 4 of these things hit the board and lose to this. Like in a competitive, like high tier setting, I just think that's like never going to happen. So I'm just trying. You can only activate this once per turn. I don't know if there are cards that let you reuse the hero power during this time. Like if that was the case, maybe. But like even then, do you play those cards? I don't know.
It's like I know that lifesteal is great tempo. It took me a while to learn this in Magic actually, because life gain for a long time was considered not important, because in control metas it didn't matter what life total your opponents had. You eventually won the card advantage war and you won. But like over time, as creatures have gotten better and spells have gotten worse, like life gain has become crucial. And right now, like having lifelink, which is, the Magic lifesteal, is a big deal. Having access to some kind of ways to rebuild health in your deck is a big deal. So I could see this being a very powerful card in a minion-based meta, and it just seems like Hearthstone is that kind of game. Yeah, let's put Uther at number 2 right now.
Uther at number 2 behind Mage. Okay.
I might move up the Death Stalker.
I don't think that destroy the enemy here. I think if you resolve that, your opponent was never winning that game anyway. So I'm just ignoring that. I'm looking at this as 9 mana, get a 5/3 weapon with lifesteal, and then all your 1/1s now become 2/2s. And that doesn't seem particularly impressive to me. I think that's like sure, the weapon is a 5 attack, so it's like you can theoretically kill 3 things over the course of 3 turns. You can't kill a water elemental, notably. But you know what? I may as well keep with my streak of being wrong about every Paladin card. Put this at the bottom for now. Okay. I think the Hunter one's better than this.
Okay.
Shadow Reaper Anduin. 8 mana, the 5 custom armor. Nice purple face. Battle cry, destroy all minions with 5 or more attack. Okay,
that seems very good. It's also yours because it's all, but like, who the fuck cares? You're probably just not going to play anything. And then Void Form. Deal 2 damage after you play a card, refresh this. Oh, that's sick. That's cool. Okay. Yep. Okay. And this is it. There's no other gimmick. It's just...
There's nothing else.
I like it.
I'm realizing I have no context for like the average cost of a priest spell and whether or not it's reasonable to void form multiple times in a turn. But I mean, I guess you have to play lower cost spells. Your deck has to function. You must survive. How good is destroy all minions with 5 or more attack? If you get 1, you're okay. If you get 2, you're pretty great. Like at 8 and you rebuild 5 armor, if you blow up like 2 or 3 things, you're probably feeling like $1 million.
What else could you like be doing for 8 mana instead of playing this? And like, I don't really have a lot of context for what that is. I'm not sure if there are cheaper board wipes that have more applicable targets that like you could play, but then you're also getting the added value of like void form and stuff. But I could also see like if your opponent's on like low enough life that if you play this card and then like next turn you go to 9 or 10 mana, you just have a way to like kill your opponent because you have a bunch of like 0 or 1 cost things that you keep reusing void form, and you just do like 10, 12 burst damage to them just because of that.
It's hard to evaluate void form, but I can see this being oppressive in a build with the lower cost spells, or a way to consistently regenerate or keep your hand full of lower cost spells, or minions, whatever. Minions are not spells. I get it. This is really good if you're behind under the right circumstance and in the right matchup. I think it goes below Paladin right now, but this feels so weird. I'm sure I'm doing something wrong. I know I'm doing something wrong.
Okay, so you're putting Priest under Paladin.
Yes.
All right. Okay.
I like it. I'm going to put it... What do I have so far? I'm going to put it below Mage. I still like Mage better. And I'm going to put it above Druid. So I'm going to put it second for now.
Okay.
Valera the Hollow is 9 with the 5 armor. Battlecry, gain stealth until your next turn. I know what that does.
And then the hero power is Death's Shadow. It doesn't have a cost. Interesting. Passive. During your turn, add a shadow reflection to your hand. And a shadow reflection says each time you play a card, transform this into a copy of it. Interesting.
Ooh. So, man, this has to also just be like a setup into maybe a big nasty turn. Oof, this is a tough one. It feels like a very different vibe. Like, are we chain comboing here? Do we play this, go to our next turn, and then win? Is that how good having a copy of the right card is? It's 9 mana. In Hearthstone, at that point, you've dug through your deck. You probably have, if there's some combo you put together, a card with itself or a card in triplicate that is the right price, like, could you just win there? Probably.
I feel like there's like some dumb things you could like copy with shadow reflection to like make that effect good. But I don't like this card on the surface. The reason for that is I feel like, okay, it gives you stealth, but like it doesn't really like do anything else. And like I know Rogue has like all these like combo elements to it, but like you're paying 9 mana for this. Like you're paying 9. That's a lot. Just to like...
Okay. Yeah.
Like, I guess it sort of buys you a turn of immunity with stealth, like, kind of. Like, sure.
Yep. There's got to be a way. There's got to be a possibility of like, all right, I play this, I untap the next turn, 10 mana crystals, I make a copy of this one spell on this one thing, and I do this one thing, and you dead. It's over for you. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying this is the busted one, but we'll get there. Let me see the rest of it.
I gotta be honest. I think this is like they're
worst
coping.
one?
I think this is the worst one. I think they're coping with this.
You could always move it after.
I can move it at the end. Yeah, I'm not seeing it.
What do we got here?
This is Shaman.
Death Seer. Okay, Shaman. And this one's only 5 mana. And it has the armor, battle cry, transform your minions into random ones that cost 2 more.
I imagine like if you have, let's just say hypothetically, you have 3-4 cost guys. It just takes from the pool of 6 costs and turns them all into 6 cost guys.
Yes, and it is important to note that like unlike Magic where it says like when it enters the battlefield it does something. If it does a battle cry, you don't get the battle cry. Like it's just important to note that like you're just basically increasing the stats potentially and maybe a couple keywords.
Then the hero power, Transmute Spirit. Transform a friendly minion into a random one that costs 1 more. Oh, that's fun. So you could basically, you play this guy, you get your guys like buffed or nerfed depending on the card. And then you could like keep doing this potentially and just like keep going up the chain. That's a very goofy card. Is that good? That's questionable, I think.
You have to have a board, or the battle cry of this does nothing. It's not good when you're behind. It's really not very good when you're behind. So, like, say you play this when you're behind, you get some armor, that's nice, but you don't actually transform anything. Or say you just have one thing, and it was like a 2 or a 3 minion that stuck around, and you transform that into like a 4, and then on the opponent's turn, they deal with that minion. On your turn, you have 6 mana crystals. You have to use 4 of them to play the thing, and then 2 to transmute it. So you really played a 5, but you really did it for 6. That sucks.
If I'm going to take cost and align it with like levels in Yu-Gi-Oh, I'm thinking like you take all your level 4 guys and you make them level 6. There are a lot of bad level 6 guys that I would not want to transform my level 4s into, and especially because they're random. So that's the thing, right? Like this card becomes really bad if you have like no board presence. And the only board presence you could really have is like a totem, because that's your other hero power. I think the floor of this card is really bad. Like if you top deck this with no board, this card is actually awful.
This is the first one I've seen that has like fail scenarios. Like full on.
I get what you mean.
You wouldn't want to use the scenarios. I'm going to put this at the bottom.
All right, so Shaman is last. Okay.
I don't feel like the ceiling on this card is insane. Yeah, maybe slot it between Druid and Hunter for now. Like that's dead center. Yeah, let's put it there.
Okay. Cool. Okay.
Whoa, holy shit. All right, that's some cool art. Blood Reaver Gul'dan.
Let's go. 10 mana Warlock card. All right. I'm excited. I like Warlock a lot.
You should be. Warlock's the best.
Yeah. 10 mana. Battle Cry. Summon all friendly demons that die this game. Yes! Let's go, demons!
Now, reminder for the viewers, because I know people are going to say something. I'm not going to show you what the demons are. Again, I'm going to say that if you're going to play this card, there are playable demons.
Really?
I will just say that. All right, just like Jana, like there are demons in the game that you could build this around.
That seems fucking crazy. Okay. 2 mana, Siphon Life, deal 3 damage. Because Lifesteal deal 3 damage. Because the other Warlock's initial is pay 2, draw 1.
Pay 2, draw 1, yep.
Yeah. Okay. Holy shit, this is a really cool fucking card.
If there's any way to reduce the cost on this and cheat it out, it's busted, and then this ability is even better. But like, I feel like playing this wins the game. You probably never have to activate this. Like, if demons are playable and you get to cast this, like, oh my god. That's a really powerful ability, and it makes sense that this costs 10. That I can definitely see it being 10 mana, like GG, game over.
Okay, so we talked about this in one of my videos, how anytime there's a card in any card game that says summon all anything, it's probably insane.
Okay, fair enough.
And I feel like Warlock has enough things that are like life-stealy type effects, if I recall, that like you could probably try to build a deck in such a way that you could live long enough to like drop this guy. And this is just your big bomb to win. And if your opponent just like doesn't have a way to deal with it, then the game just might be over. I think this card's cracked. I think this card's really good.
Okay. Tom?
I think this might go over Jana, actually.
Okay. You can always move it after.
Yeah. I think this seems really good. Assuming the demons are good enough, I think this card is insane.
Is the rogue better? It would be very demon-like to have a demon that says something like, while it's on the battlefield, you can't lose.
Oh my god, I wonder if they printed that card. That's crazy. What the hell?
I still feel like the rogue one might have just game over potential, and it's cheaper. Is it better than rogue? I'm going to put number 2.
All right, below rogue.
Scourgelord Garrosh. 8 mana crystals. 5 armor. Battle Cry. Equip a 4/3 Shadowmourne that also damages adjacent minions. Gotcha.
And then Blade Storm. Deal 1 damage to all minions. Oh, shit. Okay, so that's just a AoE every turn. That seems pretty good. It's only 1, but that's still decent. Especially because with Shadowmourne, it basically means that it's like you could do 5 damage AoE to 3 things and then 1 to everything else. That seems good.
It feels like a solid control element, but it does depend on the size of the things you're hitting. Dude, this is gonna be... I do not like this game. I feel no confidence.
You have gotten through Titans and Colossals at this point. This should be easier.
This is not easier. I don't know why. Like, I'm having a really hard time picturing the boards that,
I guess
like...
cleave is something you're not used to. I guess that's fair. You don't have to deal with that in Magic whatsoever.
I like it.
Okay.
It's like...
Where would you put it?
It just seems like a solid card. I'm tempted to put this... Let me think. So the Priest was a board wipe plus the Void form. Was that what it was called? So the Priest was a board wipe. This is like sort of a board wipe. It's definitely on the higher end for me, between Priest and Druid. I think that's where I want it.
Priest and Druid. Okay.
Is it better than Jana? We're at the end now, so I can start going card by card. We can really dig into this breakdown, right?
Yeah, here I can update the list for you, so it's right there.
Okay, let's start at the bottom. Let's start at the bottom. What's the worst? What's the worst?
What is the worst? What is it?
I still have a really hard time with Rexar. I don't know if that's what Hunter wants or not. It's very fun, but I don't know if it's what they want. The worst is Thrall. I have no respect for this card.
You move Paladin up.
Yeah,
what happened with Paladin?
So the reason I moved Paladin up a bit is part of my thinking is that, like, if this card, even though it's expensive, it has like an immediate impact in that over the course of 3 turns, you get to basically not only heal yourself for 15, but you could theoretically kill 3 minions at the same time. And then like I think the Rogue is the worst one.
This is gonna be great. Well, you got the worst one correct. I'll give you that. Thrall is the worst one.
Oh, thank God. Okay. No matter what, I didn't do a Nessie.
It's pretty. You actually identified the worst part about the Shaman one is it's the only Death Knight in the entire pool here that has a negative downside, because the Shaman one doesn't do anything if you have no board. You put Rexar and Malfurion, Jana, Anduin. I'm going to talk about those later because obviously those are not even close to being the worst ones. We'll start with Garrosh at the worst, or second worst one, I should say. Garrosh ended up being pretty bad. The problem with Garrosh is that you're replacing arguably the best hero power in the late game with 2 armor, because armor is the only tool in this game that allows you to go above the max life total of 30.
Okay.
Currently. Okay. Rogue is the third worst one.
Okay, thank you.
Rogue. Yeah, so the thing about the Rogue one, you identified it. It's 9 mana, bro. Like, Rogue doesn't want to run a 9 mana card. As much as it's cool to go stealth for a turn, that can't be understated, by the way, how powerful that effect was. Rogue, again, did see some play, just not a lot. Kind of like Warrior, very niche. This is where we start to hit the block of Death Knight cards that are like, good.
Okay, Paladin, but he missed with Warrior, or he missed with Rogue, I missed with Warrior. Okay, so we're even.
Next up is Paladin. You were talking about how like you never got that combo off. Unironically, it was possible to get it off. And it was,
obviously it's possible.
No, but like actually at a tournament level, it was possible.
Do you get them all out?
Yeah, because
at a turn?
Maybe not all in a single turn, but I'm going to show you the possibility here.
Auction Master Beardo. After you cast a spell, refresh your hero. Oh, okay.
So you can't hero power a ton in a turn, but there's ways to get coins where you're able to like actually do enough of a hero power rotation where you can get the full combo. But this is where we get to start going to the heavy hitters, because this is where like the good ones start showing up. I'm going to put Hunter here. A lot of people would probably say that Hunter deserves a higher one up on this list, but I disagree. It felt better to have the top end of some kind of late game, some kind of insurance, rather than just top decking a 1-drop every single turn and just hoping that you end up killing them. Because sometimes the Rexar card would make the difference of you winning or losing a game against a control deck. This leads us to what I like to call probably the powerhouses here. We have Mage, Druid, Warlock, and Priest.
Okay.
Next up is Mage.
No! Okay.
Mage was actually pretty decent because of the control tools that Jana had. This card won you the game, right?
Jana!
If you had the capabilities of just living to turn 9, the game was over. Like it's so hard to play against this card at this point because of the infinite value of dealing 1 damage it could do. And there were so many times playing against Jana or with Jana that you would actually potentially ping your own water elemental to generate another one. So Jana was obviously very, very good, which leaves us with 3.
Yep. My dream's alive.
You have Gul'dan, Malfurion, and Anduin.
We're still alive.
You're still alive, technically. This is the weird one because Druid's Malfurion, even though it's the most fucking boring ass card ever, like in terms of like Death Knight's work, this card was very good. The thing is that, like you said, there's ramping in Druid, right? So if I'm ramping in Druid, I put myself at a vulnerable spot to die to aggro. But if I can gain 5 armor and then I can play 2 1/5 taunts to block it, which protects me for an additional turn. And then every single turn afterwards, I also just gain 3 armor. And then also I could deal 3 damage every single turn. So I do have a late game assurance to win a game. It just ended up being very, very good, which leaves us with 2 cards.
Come on. Don't dream crush me, bro. Let's go.
Listen, I hate to say this to you, but a Gul'dan's
No, don't do it.
Gul'dan's 2.
Don't do it.
Gul'dan's number 2. You're gonna be. I'm gonna get to Anduin in a second, but we'll talk about Gul'dan. Gul'dan was really good. Like I can't like the discrepancy between these two is so like minimal because Gul'dan often was like you said. If I played this card on 10 mana and enough of my beasts died, you just lost that game. And then on top of it, the very next expansion, they got this card, which is called Void Lord, which I'll just show you right here.
9 mana, 3/9 taunt, death rattle, summon 3/1/3 demons with taunt,
So,
infinite taunt. Got it.
The other way of looking at it is rather than killing your opponent, if I'm just playing Void Lords and I get to cheat them out, Skull of Minari was a huge reason why this card was also very powerful. It just built a wall and there's nothing your opponent can do. And because you're constantly gaining the life back with its hero power, it would allow you to just stay in the game forever and then eventually just win the game. Priest was number 1. Priest had something called Raza Priest, which I said this to CGB. I didn't give you guys any context because I felt like if I showed you this card, it was easily like you would figure it out. Let me just show you this to you. Hold on.
Raza the Chained, 5 mana crystals, 5/5 battle cry. If your deck has no duplicates, your hero power costs 0.
Oh, well, yeah, no kidding. Yeah, that would be the best one.
I didn't show you that for that particular reason because I feel like it would just take away from this video, like 100%.
Sure, of course.
So,
yeah,
as you could probably guess, if you make Void Form a free hero power,
yeah, the game's over.
Your game, you play Anduin. You're not even playing Anduin for the clear anymore. You don't give a fuck. You're playing it because you can machine gun your opponent's face.
Yeah.
But I think you can honestly make the comparison between Blood Reaver Gul'dan and Anduin because Gul'dan was an absolute powerhouse the turn it was played. But I think overall your list is okay. You got the worst one right and potentially number 1. I didn't give you any context here. If I showed you Raza when I showed you the Priest card, would you have rated it number 1?
Honestly, maybe.
Okay.
Like as soon as you think about every spell is 2 damage, that's like there are hard to achieve like Magic the Gathering situations that create these effects, and they are game ending. So I'm pretty sure I would see that that's just like GG. You know?
So again, I didn't want to give you the context here because I feel like that just gives it away immediately. So that's why I didn't show it. But I can't wait to see Sibo's list, dude. I can't wait to see it.
Oh, okay. He's going
you
second.
You are
this
undefeated.
Time.
So let's see if you actually can get away with this.
I don't know if I could get away with this, dude. I don't feel good about this at all.
Well, CGB and I both got the second one wrong. So how do we determine who wins?
Well, here's the thing. Actually, that's a good question. It's a close one. It's gonna be a close one.
The comments might have to decide. The comments might have to decide.
The comments might have to decide for this one.
They usually do the math anyway.